newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Lagos. Welcome to another fresh episode of your daily newspaper review. I'm your host for this morning, Temi Tokwera Rogudade, and as always, it's my pleasure to guide you through the biggest stories shaping conversations across the country today. The front pages this morning are intense, yes, emotional and deeply reflective of the complex realities we face as a nation, from insecurity and governance challenges to economic pressures, market losses, social crisis, and national reforms. Today, headlines remind us of both the fragility and the resilience of Nigerian states. We'll be going straight to the papers this morning. We'll be looking at the front pages of The Punch, Daily Trust, Vanguard, and Guardian this morning. Starting off with the Punch newspaper this morning, we don't really have much on the Punch newspaper this morning. Beside the nameplate, we have terrorism. Police tighten Southeast security as Kanu knows fate today. Police tighten Southeast security as Kanu knows fate today, and you can get that on page 7. Major headline on the Punch newspaper this morning says Kwara Kebbi adoptions. FG blames US as kidnap outrage spreads. We have a writer to this story. Tinubu cancels foreign trips. Troops storm Kwara after bandits kill 2, adopt 35 worshippers. Shetima, Kebbi, Kwara governors visit families. This is a really, really sad story, very concerning, and it's something that the government really needs to focus on. And now the federal government is blaming the US and saying it's because of your comments and all that is why these issues are coming up. But you can get more on that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And the last story we'll be taking this morning of the Punch newspaper says Wike slams Turaki as police seal PDP secretariat. Issues in the PDP seems not to want to go at all. Wike slams Turaki as police seal PDP secretariat, and that's all we'll be taking this morning on the Punch newspaper. Moving to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, major headline on the Daily Trust newspaper says bandits adopt 30 in Kwara church attack. Bandits attack 30 in Kwara church attack. It's quite a sad story, but you can get more on that on pages 2 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Beneath that story, we have Kebbi releases names of kidnapped schoolgirls. Kebbi releases names of kidnapped schoolgirls. If you want to know their name, pick up a paper, pick up Daily Trust, and go to pages 4, 3, 4, and 6, and you will get more on that story. Beneath that story, we have our mosquito coil fire killed 4 in Kano. Our mosquito coil fire killed family of 4 in Kano. That is a really, really sad story. Where are we getting a lot of sad stories this morning? But you can get that on page 23 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Kano governors present 1.36 trillion naira budget for 2026. Kano governor presents 1.36 trillion naira budget for 2026, and you can get that on page 32 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Super Falcons shine as Unadozie extends dominance at CAF Awards. Yeah, yesterday we had the CAF Award, and the Super Falcons actually did good and won quite a number of awards. But you can get more on that on page 29 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Beside that story, we have genocide. Ribadu leads delegation to U.S. Congressman. Ribadu leads delegation to U.S. Congressman, and you can get that on page 32 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And right beneath the nameplate, we have I lost 30 shops in Gombe Market Inferno, and this is coming from a trader. I lost 30 shops. That is quite a number of shops. 30 shops. If you want to know more about that story, it's on page 34 of the Daily Trust newspaper. PDP crisis. Police barricade secretariat. Police barricade secretariat. That's for the PDP crisis, and you can get that on page 13 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And the last story we'll be taking this morning on the Daily Trust newspaper says ISWAP leader backs 20 years jail term. ISWAP leader backs 20 years jail term. And you can get that on page 14 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And before we move on to the remaining 2 papers this morning, we'll be going on a quick break. And when we are back, we'll take the 2 papers and we'll break down some stories and be able to understand, for some people that don't really know much about some of these issues that are going on, I'll be able to break down some for you. And of course, you can join the conversation. You can call us or you can text us on WhatsApp or normal text message at 090-7224-5018. I'll take that again, 090-7224-5018. And we are live on YouTube at impact 102.1 FM. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The scene, the waves, serenity, High Impact Cruise.
Welcome to High Impact Cruise.
Yes, experience the waters of Lagos, you and your family on Eugene One, a luxurious ultra-modern 4-story yacht, fabulous music, sumptuous meals, and an elegant, well-stocked bar with an array of exotic drinks. Call 0705 095 5987 or 0806 483 1491 for bookings and inquiry. High Impact Cruise. Dream, discover, explore.
12 hours of intense worship, 12 anointed artists, one stage. Are you ready? High Impact Praise Blast 2025 is coming. Get ready for a night of fire where praise, worship, miracles, and joy abound. It is High Praise Reloaded. Date Friday, December 26th, 2025. Time 6 p.m. Venue High Impact Planet Amusement Park Resort and Hotel, Kilometer 12, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Iba4. Ministry DJ Ernestine, Adeyinka Alaseyori, PJ Sachs, Shenwele Jesu, Lilian Neji, our CCG Praise Team, the City Choir, Laulu Benjo, Bidemi Olaoba, Sumisola Agbebi, Toluwani Sings, Chinyere Udoma. For more inquiries, please call 0814-229-9509 or 0706-393-5694. Entry is absolutely free. High Praise Reloaded. It is time to praise loud, worship deep, and live blessed.
We are the best. Others can rest.
High Impact Radio. Thank you.
Next.
looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694 0915 958 1881 0902 745 3931 or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
This station is powered by the future.
Welcome back, guys. If you're just joining us, you're tuned into High Impact 102.1 FM. We're currently on a newspaper review. This morning we reviewed the Daily Trust and the Punch newspaper. Now we'll be going to the Guardian newspaper. And of course, you can always join the conversation by calling us in or texting us on WhatsApp or normal text message at 090-7224-5018. I'll take that again, 090-7224-5018. And we're currently live on YouTube at Our Impact 102.1 FM. Now moving to the Guardian newspaper. We have quite a lot on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Major headline on the Guardian newspaper says, outrage over rising adoptions, attacks as army rallies 24,000 recruits. And you can get that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Cross River to begin forensic audit of civil servant certificates in January. Cross River to begin forensic audit of civil servant certificates in January. And you can get that on news page 34 of the Guardian newspaper. Health workers' strike will continue until federal government reviews Core S. And that is quite a lot. If health workers strike will continue until federal government reviews Con S. You can get that on news page 34. If health workers go on strike, a lot will happen. But you can get that on news page 34 of the Guardian newspaper. 230 million Nigerians to unseat Tinubu, defecting governors. El Rufai says. El Rufai is saying 230 million to unseat Tinubu and defecting governors. And you can get that on news page 34 of the Guardian newspaper. Over 6,386 cargoes detained by the NPF Customs incur 472.5 million naira daily demurrage. And you can get that on business page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. Northern groups reject FEX loop-sided road project. Northern groups reject FEX loop-sided road project. And that story is on news page 36 of the Guardian newspaper. Governor Yusuf presents 1.36 trillion naira 2026 budget. Governor Yusuf presents 1.36 trillion naira 2026 budget, and that story is on news page 36 of the Guardian newspaper. And right beneath the nameplate we have SMBLF fears Nigeria drifting towards one-party rule. SMBLF fears Nigeria drifting towards one-party rule, and that story is on news page 4. Staying on the news page 4, we have alleged Christian genocide. FG accuses U.S. of inciting violent groups. Alleged Christian genocide. FG accuses U.S. of inciting violent groups. Still on news page 4, and that's going to be the last story we'll be taking on the Guardian newspaper this morning. FG states local governments share 2.09 trillion naira as October revenue. FG states local government share 2.09 trillion naira October revenue. And that's what we'll be taking on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Moving to the Vanguard newspaper, we don't have really much on the Vanguard newspaper. We have, I think, just 2 stories. Yeah. But one of the stories has a lot of riders to it, and that's the major story this morning on the Vanguard newspaper. Kebbi, Kwara attacks alt Tinubu trips. We have quite a number of riders to it. Awaits VP DSS. Police reports on incidents. Will use state apparatus to rescue our daughters, and this is coming from the Vice President Shetima. Local government chairman releases names of adopted Kebbi students. GNI decries adoption of Kebbi schools, demand government action. Another rider, bandits attack church, kill 3, adopt many in Kwara community. Angry youths block Ilorin Kaba Road over attack. Governor Abdulrazak condemns attack. And the last rider to that story says soldiers take over Kwara community. And you can get more on that on news page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. The last story we'll be taking this morning on the Vanguard newspaper says federal government has lost grip on northern security, and this is coming from Olawepo Ashim. Federal government has lost grip on northern security, and it's coming from Olawepo Ashim. You can get more on that on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper, and that's all we'll be taking this morning on the Vanguard newspaper. Now to breaking down of some of these stories. Bandit actor abduct 30 in Kwara church attack. Daily Trust report, I think all newspapers this morning has reported on this Kwara church attack, and according to report, armed men stormed a church in Ekomeje in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State during an evening worship session and abducted 30 members. Eyewitnesses described the attack as sudden and overwhelming. Gunshots ringing out, worshippers fleeing, and family torn apart in seconds. The kidnappers were said to have moved the victim towards a forested area bordering Kogi State. This incident deepens concerns about the expanding reach of banditry into the state, once considered relatively safe. Security analysts are warning that criminal groups are spreading into new territories, capitalizing on porous borders, poor surveillance, and overstretched response system. The fact that a place of worship, traditionally a sanctuary, could be violently invaded raises major questions about government's readiness and community protection mechanism. For many Nigerians, this attack isn't just a headline, it's a reminder of how insecurity continues to reshape daily life. It's a really sad story, and the fact that we are here, like, this is a place where most people wouldn't expect that Nigeria would be. Like, we've been fighting this issue for over how many years now, and we've not gotten anywhere. I think about 15 years, and we've not gotten anywhere. Things just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and we keep getting promises that, oh, we'll do this. How long are we going to continue doing this? Moving to another sad story, Kebbi releases names of kidnapped schoolgirls. And still on insecurity, Kebbi has released the names of the schoolgirls adopted during the recent attack on government secondary school in Magadanko, Wasagu local government. This move, although helpful for transparency, it has revived a lot of emotional wounds for parents who have waited anxiously for updates. The release of the names is meant to aid rescue efforts and ensure accurate information, especially after conflicting figures circulated online. However, it underscores an uncomfortable reality. Nigeria's education system, especially in the north, is still under siege. Years, even after Chibok, like we're talking about years after Chibok, Dabchi, Jengede, school children remain target for ransom, political bargaining, and terror. And this brings a lot of things. And there's this question that we're going to ask: how long until schools become truly safe, especially school girls? Like, girls are mostly like the target. How long are school girls going to have this fear in them that if I go to school today, am I going to come back home? Is anything going to happen? How long is this going to take? And we need the government to answer and do better. Now moving to another story. ISWAP leader backs 20 years jail term. Are we going to say victory or justice? But ISWAP leader has been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. He was convicted on multiple charges, including terrorism, financing, coordination of attacks, and recruitment. While they offer some reassurance, experts warn that jailing individuals is only one piece of a bigger puzzle. The fight against terrorism requires dismantling supply chains, disrupting recruitment networks, improving border intelligence, and providing alternatives for vulnerable youth. Still, we won't say the sentence is not something, is a symbolic step, and it signals that some level of accountability is possible. Yeah. And now, outrage over rising adoptions at Army rallies 24,000 recruit. Yeah. The Nigerian Army is intensifying their recruitment to bring in 24,000 fresh soldiers. While this expansion may enhance manpower, or security experts argue that the real issue lies in outdated tactics, inadequate technology, slow intelligence processes, insufficient coordination among the security agencies. Yeah, and citizens are asking, will more boots on the ground translate to more safety? Or do we need like a total overhaul of our strategy? We need the army to answer this question. We need the military to answer this question. And we need them to do better. And now the government is accusing the US of inciting violent groups. The federal government accuses the U.S. of inciting violent groups by labeling recent attacks as Christian genocide. Federal government claims such labels can deepen religious division, fuel retaliatory violence, and misrepresent Nigeria's complex conflict landscape. What's your take on this? What's your take on this? I need you guys to call me. Text me 090-7224-5018. Moving to another story, SMBLF fears Nigerian drifting towards one-party rule. The Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, that's the SMBLF, warns that Nigeria may be drifting towards a one-party dominance, citing political development that increasingly weaken opposition structures and tighten control around one major party. The group argues that democracy thrives only when multiple voices can freely compete. The concerns touches directly on the broader health of Nigerian political environment. Moving to health topic, health workers say their nationwide strike will continue until the government updates the co-end salary structure. We know the strike has crippled hospital operations, especially in rural areas. The health sector is under pressure, low pay, brain drain, lack of equipment, and overwhelmed facilities. And now they're saying if the government doesn't review the CONS salary structure, the strike is going to continue. So we need the government to do better on this, and they should reach a final resolution and know how to tackle this, and not something like maybe like a temporary thing that later they'll come back again. No, they should look for something permanent. And the last story we'll be talking about this morning is Cross River begins forensic audit of civil servant certificate. Yeah, Cross River State is set to begin a forensic audit of civil servant certificate in January. This is aimed at eliminating fake credentials, improving competence, and restoring order in the civil service. Certificate fraud has haunted many states for decades, reducing efficiency and credibility. If concluded transparently, this audit could become a model for other states. And that's the major news on the front pages this morning, from insecurity, shaking communities, to political shift, economic challenges, fire disasters, and questions of leadership and accountability. Today's headline paints a vivid picture of a nation's navigating difficult times. But within the challenges, there's also a call for stronger institutions, political policies, and a more united civic response. Because the stories we've read today are not just headlines. No, they represent the lives, the hopes, the fears, the resilience of millions of Nigerians. Thank you so much for joining me on this detailed newspaper review. I've been your host, Temitope Agundade. Stay informed, stay thoughtful, and most importantly, stay hopeful. So guys, don't go anywhere. More music is coming to you today. Throwback Thursday. We'll be bringing you a lot of old music. When I say old music, yeah, songs that bring this nostalgic feeling to you, and you don't want to miss that, do you? So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
12 hours of intense worship, 12 anointed artists, one stage. Are you ready? High Impact Praise Blast 2025 is coming. Get ready for a night of fire where praise, worship, miracles, and joy abound. It is High Praise Reloaded. Date Friday, December 26th, 2025. Time 6 p.m. Venue High Impact Planet Amusement Park Resort and Hotel, Kilometer 12, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Iba4. Ministry DJ Ernestine, Adeyinka Alasheyori, BJ Sax, Shenwele Jesu, Lilian Neji, RCCG Praise Team, the City Choir, Laulu Benjo, Bidemi Olaoba, Sumisola Agbebi, Toluwani Sings, Chinyere Udoma. For more inquiries, please call 0814-229-9509 or 0706-393-5694. Entry is absolutely free. High Praise Reloaded. It is time to praise loud, worship deep, and live blessed.
Hello there.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1